blocks and we're like, oh my gosh, Rebecca Soni must feel perfect right now. It's the Olympic final, right? She must be having like, about to have the race of her life. I want to know what that felt like leading up to your Olympic final in London.
So, when you prepare for a big meet, you're really super focused, right? You're focused on the races that are coming up, whether you're tapered, you're shaved down, you're like focused in on this one race. And then it starts to get kind of scary, right? Then it's like, it's time to go, and this whole season has been focused on this one race, and all I have is 2 minutes, or sometimes 15 seconds, or that's really fast, 20 seconds for 53, and that's all you have for a year's worth of training, and it gets pretty nerve-wracking. So for me, when I was swimming my second Olympics, I'd already been to the Olympics, I'd already won a gold medal, I'd already been a world record holder, but this time it was different. This time I had to defend my title and prove that I was still, you know, the fastest and all that. And so when I came in, I also had one really big goal, and that was to break 220 in the 200 long course breaststroke. And it never been done before. I went at 220.2 in Beijing 4 years before. So to come back and hopefully go 0.2 seconds faster, I trained 4 years for that. I put 4 years, I put my life on hold, I gave everything. I was out of college, I was a professional athlete, meaning that I did this 24/7. And it was all on the line for that one race. So when I swam semifinals the night before, I swam the perfect race. Everything felt amazing. Everything from my warm-up to my pace work beforehand. My coach could see my stroke was perfect. And I jumped in the water, I raced out of my mind, and it was a perfect race, and I came in at a 220.00. Which, my goal was to break 220. So I won that race, I had broken a world record, but I didn't get my goal. My goal would have been 1/100th of a second faster. So luckily I had another shot, and I thought, okay, all I have to do is do all of this again, it'll feel perfect again, and it'll all be great. Except the only thing was when I woke up in the morning, remember I was talking about in the water, those races that you just don't feel it? Well, that's what happened, and I knew at the moment I woke up. I was just like super nervous. I had like the whole motivational whatever that's inside of you just wasn't there. I was just scared, and I felt bad, and feeling bad made me even more scared. But I just went through the routine, like Ari was talking about. Routines are so important, especially for moments like this. And I went through my warm-up, and I went through everything, but it just wasn't there. And all I had to think about was, this is my last shot, this is my last chance, this is my only chance. I knew I was done. I knew this was my last Olympics. I was 25 at the time. I knew that I was ready to move on, but I still wanted to do this. I wanted this really bad, and I just didn't think it was there anymore. And so when I did my warm-up, my pace was slow. It was so much slower than the day before. It was awkward, it was funky. I was doing all these little drills that I taught you that back against the wall because I was like, my core is off, and I was doing my speed drills because my speed was off. And like, I pretty much just taught you guys my Olympic warm-up, by the way. That's what I do. So I was doing all these things that whenever I could to try to get it, and it just wasn't there. It just wasn't there. And before you knew it, I was out of time. I had to put my suit on. I went and talked to my coach, and my coach was like, oh my gosh, like, good luck. I don't know what to tell you. You're on your own. Like, fingers crossed, I'm out of here. And I'm in the ready room, which is where we go before we race. And I'm looking around at the competitors, and I'm just like, I'm not ready. Like, how do you go up to the officials and be like, can we get a timeout? Like, this is football. Does it work for swimming? Like, timeout. Timeout lane 4. But you can't do that. You don't have a choice. The show must go on at the Olympics. It's all about getting it on TV for everyone back home to watch, and NBC and the cameras, they don't wait for anything. They don't wait for anything. So before I knew it, I was behind the blocks. And you guys know that moment before you race where you're just like tuning into that lane in front of you, right? And you're just like, this is my chance, this is my time. And in that quiet moment, I heard the voice in my head that said, I don't think you can do this. And because I heard that voice, I heard it and I said, I can't be telling myself this right now. What am I telling myself? In case you guys haven't noticed, I like to really be in control of what I'm feeling based on what I'm thinking, because it really makes a big difference. And so in that moment, I decided, it doesn't matter how I feel, I'm going to swim fast anyway. It doesn't matter how you feel. You don't have to feel good to swim fast. And I just repeated that in my head. I'm doing it anyway. I'm doing it anyway. It's gonna do this. I'm gonna break 220. I got this. This is mine. And I just kept saying that over and over again in my head. Remember when we were doing abs over here? Over. If you don't keep repeating it, you forget. Your mind just moves on to, I can't, I won't, I don't know how to do this, I'm terrible at doing brush-ups, whatever it is. And so I just kept on repeating it, because that's the only way to train yourself. You keep on repeating what you want to hear, so there's no space for the things you don't want to hear. And I dove into that final. I didn't feel great, as expected. My first lap didn't feel great. The girls were right with me. The day before I was blowing the field away, so I knew I was doing good, but tonight they were right next to me. In fact, I think they were leading at the first 50 and I was like second or third, I don't even remember. And lap after lap, I can do this, I got this, I can do this, I got this. And before you knew it, it was the last lap and I was coming into the wall and I heard my coach whistle and I heard, as I touched the wall, I heard the crowd go wild, but I was so scared to turn around. I knew that I'd won. That was never a question in my mind, but I didn't think I'd got my 220. So when I turned around and I looked at the clock and I saw the number 219.5, so I got half a second faster than the day before. But I have no idea how. I have no idea physically how, because I felt so badly, and actually my race was terribly structured. It was all the last lap. If you looked at my split